today. Obviously, we're in a new space, and we're really excited to be here. We're looking as the future here of our great group, and we encourage you guys to share the group and invite people, bring people out. I mean, we've got a huge space here now that we want to fill up, and especially moving into the winter months. I know this summer we've had some thin months, we've had some good months, but we really want to continue to grow the group, and we've been able to accomplish a ton in the last year. We just had our 1-year anniversary, which we celebrated last month. But we've really accomplished a lot just in 1 year, and I think Gage and Amanda and myself and Jim, we've been talking a lot about how we continue to grow and just win together. I mean, the more people that are a part of this, the more opportunity for everybody. We've seen that happen a lot just in the last year, and we want to do more of that, and it only happens by bringing more people into the group. So you guys know people that may be interested, or that are agents, or investors, or contractors, or whatever. Just bring people out, invite them out, and we want to connect with as many people as we can and continue to grow this group.
Yeah. I think it's always about collaboration, right? We want to collaborate with all different kinds of people, not as many people. So that.
Yep.
Your favorite sponsors, team companies, sports, and classic lands are here in conversion here. They live in local we have vision to escape or secure renovation.
Appreciate you guys.
And Grid is a global real estate community built for investors by investors. We're not new groups, we're not real deals doing real deals. We're not trying to sell you stuff. A lot of times you see these groups online and they want to help you get rich quick and then we can either work program. We're not here to sell you. So it's here to collaborate and get deals done.
Yeah. We're by no means experts either. We're here to learn just as much as you guys are. And, we've been around a bit. We're doing some deals, and we want to share that knowledge and stuff with you guys. But we encourage you guys to participate too, especially with this conversation today. I know we've got some people in the room that have been doing deals, so we'd love to hear what you guys have to say as well.
And it's not really well, honestly, in the stock market. We've done a little bit the other week, but I was like, I would say it's not how that. And it probably does because sometimes it comes back up and comes back up. We're also creating impact, and people in general a little bit. I had this lady who had some solar financing, she's kind of turned, she's in trouble. She announced the rematch house and she's going to make in general, she was selling up. She was like, I want to help her and so much. She's so sweet. And that's the thing too, I got to jump in and try to help. When I get to Mike is really good at that as well, just helping people get to their next step.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times they can't get out of their house because they visit. Right. He discussed with that, try to find ways of neighbors up there. So it is making a big impact.
It brings opportunities to everybody too. Gage certainly, got a lot of business and opportunity and helped me out a ton. It's not just me, Amanda as well. The more we can come together and help people, that's really what it's about. Help the community, and this property on Osage, it was just a rat hole that I was able to help the estate sell the house off. It was a foreclosure and a really nasty house. Gage is now fixing it up and turning it into this beautiful rental right in downtown on a street that desperately needs, help.
And honestly,
yes.
And I knew if we got it, and it swept a little bit around trying to get opportunity. We found an investor and that's really we also, it is about your money. A lot of people don't talk about money, politics, or religion. I guess that's how we were taught, right? But we've definitely been on a different wealth journey where we've been really pressured to be at, 65% profit margin. I got a bookkeeper, she was my P&L every month. She'd be like, you just spend on that. So we as investors, our model have really gotten down the wealth building starts with knowing your numbers, knowing what you're spending, and it's great to do that in business, like my business, and escort employees. I get that extra insurance, have a cyber insurance, if you will. But I also treat my house like a business, and most people don't do that. It's what we call the great insurance, treat your house like a business. So the 7 levels of wealth, if you look, your passive income covers your expenses. You would choose your income.
This is like the general theme of grid too, and there's additional classes and trainings that we can take within the grid community, not just this meetup too. So if you guys are interested in learning more about taking your passive income and turning it into generational wealth and kind of going through the steps, that's kind of the general theme of grid, and it teaches you how to do that. So if you guys are interested in that, you can go to the grid website, and there's all sorts of there's always new content coming out, and I know they're continuing to grow that and make it accessible to everybody. And everybody that comes to these meetings has access to all that information too. So
I'm sure you guys have met a lot of people. Like I had a client around the corner who lived on this farm for 16 years. He was actually one of the first graduates of the top 9 program, and he was being the same. But he came to his like age of 87. All he had was his house. And for us, he was like, I don't know the country. He knew that all had been there. But your Edward Jones, your 401k, it's not something that's safe. So I've been hearing a lot of clients that they're kind of stuck back in that age. And I think people are realizing that, and it calls for time for people that are going to take money out of my 401k, the benefits to build that up, to build greater than what you're trickling out on your.
I guess we should have maybe started with this. Who are we? For those of you that don't know me, I'm Michael Pello, investor. I am a licensed agent. Most of my activities on the investment side, wholesale, fix and flip, creative finance, do a lot of stuff with pre-foreclosure, probate, problem solver, you name it. I do a little bit of everything. I guess that's the short, quick and dirty.
Yeah. No, my name is Slate. I'm also a real estate agent. My first house when I was 19. So it's just, I want to build wealth in real estate. And I think for us starting a group, it was connections. We want to leverage those connections. And even a lot of realtors when I talk about like arbitrage or something, they're like, we've done some stuff too. We had brokers call Mike and they're like, it's illegal. And I'm like, funny. So there's a lot of things that we're going to do, and we're really going to be focusing on the speakers, like lead syndication is a big thing. We're going to come together and have our really on state for people, and we're going to be able to do that. It's a huge wealth builder, so we're going to have a speaker. It's all in Texas last week.
Sweet.
So I'm signed up. So he's going to talk about syndication as well. So those kind of things are what we want to collaborate with for years.
Yeah.
And how you can connect with us at the end, you'll see we have a website. Obviously, we're pretty well known.
Yep.
Come on up here, guest speaker. Dave is our Class A contractor, also an investor, doing a lot of cool stuff in the Valley Front area. Dave, I'll let you do a quick intro. So thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Okay, big floor plan, Vision Homes, Vision Interiors. We have our material building retail store, also a Class A contractor. We specialize in just working with investors. We're not in here to run in the middle of homeowner houses, kitchen, bathroom, and stuff like that anymore. It's fixing and flips, it's investor minded, non-occupied houses. And really looking at opportunities ourselves. We've invested in a couple of properties in sugar keeping, flip houses as well. So always looking at that. We're looking to improve our community, get and another stage project is pretty important, I think. Like we really want to see Warren County succeed, and we're better than basically the dirty streets now.
Yeah.
And look at those opportunities and what they bring back to us. It just opens up. Hyper-focused on our own community, working with investors, seeing what we can improve. Cool. Who's first timer here for Shenandoah Valley? Why don't you guys, the new folks in the room, we'll go around real quick and just introduce yourself. I'm not going to do everybody, but I'd love to hear from the new folks. Anybody want to start? Matt, go ahead.
All right, I'm Matt. I own a septic company now. I met Mike through the septic company, and then I kind of followed his page for a while. So I actually bought a house a few months ago. I know we're flipping a house just by watching through the internet and seeing it's possible. So I'm actually here because we had no budget. We just got a really cheap house and we made it work. But I don't think it's going to work every time like that. So I'm really actually interested in this.
Cool. Thank you, Matt. Thanks for coming out, and congrats on your house too. It always feels good to bring new people into the group and see them, take that big leap and get their first deal. So that's super exciting. Proud of you and happy for you and all that good stuff. Who's next? Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Lindsay Barnhart. I'm a local real estate agent with Whitecoat Ribbon. I grew up in the Shenandoah Valley around real estate. My father-in-law was a contractor and now owns a home inspection company. That's how I got started, was there and doing great on testing. And then I eventually became a real estate agent. And now I plan on making the next step into getting an investment property.
Let's go.
Here in Shenandoah, 13 years, but on the other side of the mountain, all been over the last 17 years. Right? So,
Right on. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Susan McKinney, real estate investor in the Culpeper area. So she's the first time in this area. We are in the middle of selling a home that's in contract with the community. And we have another one that we're going to sell to investors.
Okay, cool.
Let us know. And I have two jobs up here for a hotel and the out here. So,
Okay.
so those two investments.
Right on. Thank you for being here. And I encourage you to share. We have a Facebook group. You guys have deals or opportunities, share them with the group. There's always people looking for deals in the group. I know personally I do some wholesaling as well. I always want to bring those opportunities to the group first and help people within the group, get their first deal or the next deal. So encourage you guys, we've got some opportunities, share them within the group, connect with people here. If anybody's looking for deals, who to talk to. I've got one too to share. I'm going to share one here at the end too.
Shelly is in the back, and her son Jeremy Cook. They run this gorgeous venue, and I'm sure you've seen a couple of other projects. So we're very grateful for them for letting us use this space so that we have a little bit more of a private space where we can do breakouts and stuff and do some speed dating if we want to. So we're really excited. And obviously, she is a builder by trade. They've got a gorgeous property back there that's like the bridal suite for this, and there's a lot of stuff planned. So we're very thankful to be here. Jeremy for having us. They do have food. I've ordered a couple of pizzas to get us started, but if you guys want any with soup or anything, they have drinks and water over there, and there's bathrooms in both corners. So.
Important legal stuff. We are not CPAs, attorneys, anything. We're just up here giving our opinion and our experience. So do your own due diligence, and you can't sue us for what we're telling you. And we're taking some video and probably some photos too, so if you don't want your picture taken, put on your mask now, I guess. All right, so today we're talking about renovations. How do you estimate renovation expense? Estimate and get your renovation owners. So we've got before and afters. no real relevance here, kind of hard to see, but some projects that we've worked on in the past, taking something from junk and turning it into something beautiful. So you can kind of hold through these, hold out to see here.
We'll work on our lighting.
Yeah, we're working on our tech skills a little bit here. But I think one of the most common mistakes people make as they're getting into real estate investing is underestimating rehab. So either not identifying all the issues you may come across, not being comprehensive enough, or miscalculating the costs in general of improvement. So that's kind of a little bit what we're going to talk about today. And so a couple of things to think about here. We can't analyze every single deal that comes across our plate. We have no time. I mean, if we did have the time, you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste a good contractor's time. That's a good way to burn a bridge quickly, is by sending your contractor out to every deal that you come across and asking them to give you an estimate. So what we're here to talk about a little bit is how do we come up with these numbers, without wasting too much time over-analyzing deals and sending your contractor to every opportunity or dragging them out, having them write up a bunch of estimates for you on deals that you may not close on. So, in order to do that, you need to have a system, you need to be able to analyze these deals quickly, and then be able to kind of spit offers out with a good range of where you think where rehab estimates should be. So, Gage, I'm curious. I know you and I have worked together quite a bit, and you work with a lot of other investors as well. Like, what has your experience been with people as far as a contractor, your willingness or ability to do that for people? Like, what do you want to see from somebody essentially to feel confident walking into a place and you're not wasting your time?
Yeah. I mean, I think I might be just me, but I build relationships. And so whether you work with Envision or you work with another contractor, build that relationship. That's what you're going to be working with. You're going to grow together. You could get 4 different estimates that could be neck to neck, that could be miles apart. Pick your relationship, pick your contractor. There's been multiple times where Mike and I jumped in the truck up and looked at 3 properties real quick. As we've worked together over the years, though, he knows where my head's at. He not just from repeat, but he's gotten where he can walk into him, or maybe he doesn't walk into him anymore, and it's just, he knows roughly where he's going to be. Yeah. And that comes from experience. We don't all have it walking in this. So, work with one contractor. If the relationship is a good fit, the contractor is going to give and take as well. It's going to marry up well for you. And I mean, to move quickly through those, definitely work with the data that you do have. You've got an opportunity in front of you. Pull the data that you've got, square footage, the year the house was built, how many times has it transferred title, rent owned. Get as much data as you can and kind of work with that, and then start working with your contractor. Kick it over to him. I pull them up too, just like an investor would. I don't need to be boots on the ground, walking through, measuring every room. I'm going to look at the data as well. So, you've got a 60-year-old house, home probably shot. You're probably dealing with some old electric. We're in Warren County. You're investing in this community. You know the houses that you're going to be looking at. These houses need repairs. They've been ran through, or all hanging in and arming away one way or the other. But as far as how often does Mike call and sit in to go look at this house, it's usually when it's a valid deal. And it's not a waste of my time. It comes every now and then, for sure. But it's something worth looking at. Maybe it's one of your guys' files.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key is this is a relationship business. We all know that. And that's why one of the reasons we started this community in the first place is to build these types of relationships. And I think, you know, from the investor standpoint, you know, if I'm going to call Gage, I've done a bunch of flips and, you know, wholesale a bunch of properties. It better be something that, like, I'm really unsure of. We walked the property a couple weeks ago. I didn't end up putting it under contract. I had a good feeling about it. The numbers didn't work out with the seller, but the property I thought was maybe a tear down. I just said, Gage, I need to come take a look at this thing. Tell me if it's even salvageable. And it, you know, it was a good opportunity, and frankly, I still think there's a chance we may get it at some point, but the timing was quite right, and the price was quite right. You know, you don't want to drag your contractor out every deal at this time what we were talking about. Another thing, can we skip over?
I mean, Gage just went over this.
Okay.
Yeah, using the data.
He got to it before we got to it. But yeah, I mean, as much data as you can collect on these properties ahead of time, either looking at old, you know, listing photos, current listing photos, tax data, any of that stuff, square footage, all of that stuff, and putting those pieces together, age of the house, the area that it's in, is it on well and septic? I mean, you can get a really good. You know, I don't need to walk into every property that I'm looking at anymore. I can just look at basically an MLS listing or even a Redfin or a Dash Leads or a prop stream and just pull the data and say, here's, you know, a good bit of data that I can use to start building an estimate of rehab expense. A lot of the times, if I'm talking to a seller, I'll just ask them to send me some photos. Hey, you mind taking a few minutes? Send me a couple of photos of the inside. Send me some pictures of the kitchen and baths, you know, main living areas, exterior of the house. Take 10 minutes to walk around and send me some photos, just so I can get a sense. Hey, is this really an opportunity, or are we going to be way too far off? You know, I know there are people out there that buy properties sight unseen. Certainly, in the last few years, you know, opportunity has been few and far between. I don't like it as a general practice. This says we never want to do it. There are people that are comfortable and confident doing that. I'm not one of them. But we want to be able to prioritize opportunities. If you don't have enough data and you've got a laundry list of opportunities that you're looking at, to me that's at the bottom. Like, prioritize the ones where you have the data, where you can come up with a good estimate on where the cost will be. And, you know, I would generally encourage people to be buying property sight unseen. You know, we want to be able to make offers where we have a gap too. That's another thing. Make an offer. If you're going to make a sight unseen offer, make sure you've got contingency, inspection contingency or something in there that you can get yourself out of. It's more before and afters.
But we do have people, I sold 3 homes in
Yeah.
the past 3 months in front of
For sure. I mean, there's people out there that are
I'm
willing
able
to
to
do it.
sign it. It's an art project that actually is no sight unseen, but I like to add it in there. Because it is, I mean, it's like around roots, but people are coming to front royal. These people are not people from here, they're not people on grid, they're buying sight unseen here.
Yeah, I mean, people are hungry for opportunities right now, so it's no surprise. It's tough to find deals. So there's certainly people out there that are doing it. Maybe they do something we don't know. So what we're here to talk about today mainly is how are we coming up with, you know, our estimates when all we have is maybe an opportunity and some data without really getting eyes on the property. So we've kind of got 4 levels of renter that we're going to talk about. And this can be, you know, simply, you know, figured out by just looking at some photos. Of course, you want to go in and confirm once you've got an idea. Is this an opportunity? Is this a real opportunity? But we can make some assumptions based on, you know, current condition and what we ultimately want to do with the property. So a real great opportunity, and I'll let Gage jump in here and talk a little bit about the numbers when we kind of run through it. But we looked at it really as 4 grades. So we've got rental grade, which is like paint, carpet, minor updates, you know, putting in low-cost appliances and low-cost fixtures, and we threw an $18 per square foot estimate on a renovation like this. Now again, I'll let Gage kind of give his perspective on this, on these numbers, because a lot of this data comes from Grid HQ, which is like Northern Virginia, Reston, mainly the Northern Virginia area. So once we're done running through this, I'll let Gage kind of get some perspective on, are these numbers realistic for Warren County, Shenandoah Valley? I think we'll find that maybe there's a little bit of a difference. A simple rehab, replacing some fixtures, paint, maybe putting some granite in the kitchen and baths, some tile, and a little bit of extra. Maybe you've got some roofing, maybe you've got an AC that needs to be repaired. And we put a number of $48 per square foot on simple rehab. And basic remodel, same thing. Simple rehab plus, maybe you got to take down a wall, open something up, do some plumbing and electrical, some extra contingencies in there for the roof, HVAC, maybe some exterior stuff. 65 was it per square foot. And then your major remodel, which is all the other stuff, plus major plumbing, major electrical, adding a bath, finishing a basement, and with a larger contingency, maybe some structural work. And I think, Gabe, you'll have to give me your input, because you've been doing a lot of these projects. I mean, I think we typically, in Warren County, with the projects that we're seeing, I think we're typically falling much more in the major remodel, with some of these older houses and torn up houses, Osage, that lab, which we're working on right now, I think ended up at like 80 or 90 bucks a square foot. There's some big time electrical, HVAC, exterior siding, and all these things that needs to be done on these properties that need a lot of work. So why don't you give us a little bit of perspective on the price per square foot, and then we can talk about how we apply that to our overall budgets.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely seeing the hybrid there, the higher need for these houses. I'm afraid I wish I could speak a whole lot more to that.
Yeah, I think everybody.
I'm a little bit more of a high end, but I mean, we get into these, and it can be achieved. You really need to look at this. Would be an in-depth knowing that you're targeting a lower end rental grade. You're going to buy and hold. You're not going to put a lot in immediately until you start generating some revenue. You're going to get some maintenance calls. This is really the bare bones of it. I'm not seeing a lot of it, at least coming through our pipelines. Whether it's you guys, investors want to do a little bit bigger projects, just what we're seeing in the markets. And then, yeah, so what's
I think Jen's had a couple. We had some upgrades.
Yeah, I mean, you go in and just fix what's broken. I mean, it's if you can reuse the appliances that are there, reuse them, right? It's
Well, I think I see a lot of movies that should do this. They don't. They go in and they
certainly
you got to look at it through different glasses. You know, it's either renting and you want low cost materials that you know you're going to eventually have to replace in the future anyway, or you're putting it on the market to flip it and you want high end material that's going to catch someone's attention immediately. You know, you're two different.
I also had another buyer that's kind of not rental grade, but Jen and I talked about this in a property recently where someone is going to pay a little bit more than a rental price, but because they're going to live there.
Yeah.
And maybe they're a little bit handy and they're going to do some work for themselves. Like if they can come in and make birds of Victoria for you to live there. And that's what we just said, like, you got a house on the market. You can bring in a brand new shed, let's look at it. We can do rentals, flip it, and you know our daughter ended up buying it. We just painted roofs and carpet, and you know they're living in. So we didn't have to do this for one. But if I was going to flip it, then we were like, basement, and then you got the countertops.
Yeah, I mean, and that's full circle would be, you know, age of the house. If I'm looking at it, I'm like, not too distant in the past, we're coming out the 90s, something in this time bracket that I know that generally speaking, the system is well. Not going to get into a water heater or HVAC system. When I'm doing that site, I see prioritizing which one is going to be. This is more of our rental rate. That we're seeing people coming back into the property, whether it's because the place is long and substance repaired, and then generally, especially in more rural areas, away from downtown, away from Winchester, you're going to see this price bracket start kicking in. See the city Charles where I can see this playing out. Basically, houses are what start coming down our pipeline. Just speaking from what we're seeing. If you're seeing better, let us know. But we are going in, and whether that's the investor that you're working with, Ike's got a good flavor that we built into the first few houses, and we've stuck with a lot of that taste. So we know what we can do for it. And we generally know what we might get. Or move some walls for it. We're not really doing these things. This is what we're really paying attention to. The 65 square foot and the big block floor. Yeah, a little bit under that. This is about major.
Is everything. It says it in the first word.
Yeah.
Everything.
It's everything. And every single one of them that I touch, think about it, get close to the river, these houses, look at that age, look at the age of that house. Start getting to 50, 60-year-old houses, they need it. That is the lifespan of some of that stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of the properties we run into, obviously out here are well and septic too, so that's gonna jack up your contingency plan too. Like, I think pretty much anything we buy with a well and septic, and Jen, you could probably, Steven, you can attest to this, like, I don't care if they say it's good or it's not good, like, we're putting $20K as a contingency, because we know either it's going to need to be repaired, or it's going to need to be replaced, or there are broken lines, or whatever. It just seems like every property with a well and septic, like, you know, there's going to be.
And that threshold changes if it's occupied and someone's been living there and using it, or if it's unoccupied and vacant for a long time, then the amount you set aside is different for those two situations. I mean,
And this is really where I think where you're at. I fix and flips, short-term rentals, and this is where I start. $86 a square foot might be a little high, depending on what big the house really is. You go to every opportunity on your exit, it should be, what you want it to be, if you want to keep it, if you want to sell it, if you want to show it. This is where you're starting to put down versus
So what we're saying here in general here, if anybody has questions about how we're getting these numbers or how we use these numbers, essentially what we do, we'll talk about it a little bit in the next couple slides if you want to jump ahead here, is we're just taking the square footage from MLS, from your Redfins or a recent listing, tax records, whatever. You might find some variance in those numbers. I'm always going to take the highest number of those. Total square footage, including the estimate that has it. And we're just going to multiply that number by our estimate of what type of rehab is it going to be. So is this going to be a rental grade rehab? Is it going to be a simple rehab? Is it going to be a high end? Is there going to be walls? Is there going to need to be an HVAC replaced? And we take the square footage and we multiply it by the rental grade or the rehab grade. And I find within 10K maybe, that those numbers usually turn out pretty accurate. Like, it's not always going to be solid. We might run into stuff. I might have an opportunity. I bring Dave out and says, oh, well, there's this, and this. I didn't take that into account, so maybe my numbers all about 15 or 20K. But I find in general, just by using these kind of simple numbers that You know, we confirmed in our experience and what we've been doing the last few years, you know, these numbers are pretty accurate. So you guys, within reason, take those numbers, take a look at the property and the square footage, figure out what you feel like needs to be done, and come up with a pretty accurate estimate on the renovation.
How wide of a radius would you say those numbers apply to for the four grades? Like how far, from Front Royal as the epicenter, how far out would you be comfortable going and still using those numbers as benchmarks?
Yeah.
To begin with, but we're seeing higher costs or higher values in Winchester, Frederick County, in Northern Warren County. Further south, you know, you're going to see that further south as well. Again, depending on what your property opportunity is, if you're going to Bryce Mountain, you'll see it come back up.
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about, you know, knowing the market, knowing the area it's in, what kind of access is it, what kind of property is it. Those things all come into play. If Gage is doing a property in Front Royal or in Winchester, then, you know, he just has to drive down the street to get to the house, and he's already got a crew next door working on another property. You know, there may be some cost savings there to a degree, versus a property in Bryce Mountain or on Blue Mountain, or Kyber property on the Kyber Pass or down up on the top of the mountain. The pain in the ass getting up there. Do these things. Gage has to take that stuff, any contractor has to take that into account. So you kind of have to assess not only the type of rehab that you're getting yourself into, but you know, where is this property located? Especially these rural properties. I mean, there's a big variance between property in town versus property on the mountains.
I think it's hyper-local where Front Royal has a higher loan limit, so from a resale standpoint, depending on the house, like there's been a couple of houses recently, like there was one right on the corner here on Poisson Road, I mean, it went over 50 grand over, because it was a black chalet, it looked apart, you know, it looked the way people wanted it to look. Even on Hideout, I mean, we placed them on the clients every day, it's cash, and today, we went 50 grand over, today it's just like we go over more. Like,
Not that we could, but
so we went up another 2 grand cash over. Now I definitely have a couple of listings in town that aren't going to do this fast. But if you're getting someone engaged, that level of work, you know, that kind of modern trend that people are looking for, even from a staging standpoint, like I have in South Fort Valley, my clients paid $5 grand to stage it. You get an offer for a stay, and then $25 for everything. So it's all about presentation. You're doing the work right. We definitely go into a lot of homes, and they got a lot of lipstick on them. The guy showed us some houses when they were raining, probably 5 out of the 7 houses that were leaking water, and they were recently remodeled. So have the right contractor and knowing your ARV ahead of time, I think really impacts that price per square footage.
I think the moral is this is just a general idea for you to do some quick calculations and make some offers to see if you're even in the right ballpark with the seller. And so if like that's not enough, then you're not wasting your time going and looking at the property.
Yeah.
I'm not right now. This month. I mean, she listed that one. It's way up there. It's at the very top. It's got some views. But there was one, like I said, my daughter, we were looking at that one off market. One just coming soon on Hershey Street, 400 grand that was dated and went under contract before it became a market. But it's like,
Alpine's been looking for 4 days before we put in an offer. And it's been 7 days.
Yeah, they would take her off.
Yeah, it's 7 days. It's 7 days till the day. So a week, and it's all the way at the top. Like, you need change to get to it in the winter.
Yeah, I mean, further on Jen's point, what we're trying to encourage here is, you know, real estate investment game, getting opportunities on and off market is about making offers. You got to make offers. You got to be able to make it quick, especially looking at stuff on markets. How do we do that effectively, comfortably, and not put ourselves in a bad place? So that's what we're trying to encourage. The The name of this game is making offers, having conversations with making offers, and that's how the opportunities come. You're going to make a lot of offers to find a good opportunity. So that's what we're getting at here. Yeah, highest that, square foot, more square footage. So one thing I didn't want to talk about is Kate and I have kind of been working on this. I've had this slide in my phone, so we did sit and we've been kind of working on this a little bit as we've kind of progressed through our relationship and working together. Is you walk into a house, okay, you've assessed an opportunity through photographs, or maybe you've met with the seller already. But when you're walking through, when you get to the point of actually walking through a property, whether you made an offer yet or not, you should be thinking and looking at this opportunity really through the lens of, we like to think of like 3 basic questions. What do I have to do here to get this property up to code, or sellable on market, financeable on market? What should I do? Okay, what must I do? What should I do? And what could I do? So, and sort of prioritize these things when you're looking at your renovation level. So, one of the things that we've really been working on in the last year or so is like, what do we have to do on every single property that we walk into to make sure that
He's got his standards, and that helped us help more investors. And bring together. We went through a few.
Yeah.
Should have done that.
Yeah.
You know, now we just know every one of Mike's houses gets all new electrical, outlet switches, covers, black hinges, black doorknobs, really gray or on the rocks, things like you made this selection.
Yeah, and I think like, you know, we know most of the musts. It's like address the HVAC, address the electrical, address the septic and the well. You gotta look at the major systems first and make sure that the major systems are in working order. And Jen, I know you've done a few recently where it's like, where do we start here?
Yeah.
And how far do we take them?
Yeah.
You know, you really have to like, I've got a good list too, and maybe I'll share it with you guys. We'll do a follow-up email with the analyzer and a couple sheets that we can look at. Kind of like, here are the must-do lists. Here's the should I, and then here's the what can I do potentially to add value. Is there a way to knock down the wall and open something up? Is there a way to add space, add a bathroom? You got to look at the costs of that versus what you think you can ultimately benefit or make at the end.
Because I think that, just thinking that, like I had an investor recently that we dealt with, that we did a wholesale for, and I was like, you have to make that, do that, so you with the luxury. But I can show you that a house with only one bath is like double the time on the market. You gotta find this.
Yeah. We've got one that we're working on right now in Winchester. Major remodel, kind of touching everything, new HVAC, new electrical. I'll talk about it a little bit. It's a 3-1, and we kind of made the executive decision. Like, how are we going to get a second bathroom in here? I don't care where it goes. Like, where can we put this damn thing? So we worked it out. Went a little bit over our estimated budget, but I think the value was there, so we felt like it was worthwhile investment.
Does it have to be a full bath? I just added that half, but
That's what we're doing too. It's just an extra bathroom, somewhere for people to go that's not the master bath or the main bath. And we have to put it off the kitchen, which not ideal, but it'll work. It's a small house, so it's like it can only go so many places. Got this big ass walk-through pantry.
This is an app.
This is deal check.
Deal check is really good to give your phones. You can go to the App Store, and it does have a free version that you can use.
Yeah, you can just Google deal check and you have it thrown out.
Yeah. And it's great because you can put the address in. You can actually put the address into the app, and it has burrs, and it has flips, and it has rentals and resales. So it's a quick little app where you can
You could
plug in
put
the
it-
addresses, and it has all the information.
Yeah, just a handy little app that I know some people have been using it just to do like a quick analysis on their phone if they're out and about. I haven't used it personally, but I hear that it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you
I feel
know,
like we've been using a lot.
it allows you to fill in a lot of slots. So if you know your numbers, you know where you're trying to reach.
This is one on that I
You know.
Yeah.
What else we got here?
Questions?
Anybody else have any questions about anything or insights? Anybody care to share thoughts? Anything else? Anybody?
Does the kind of work or rehab that you have planned depend on the end goal you have for the property? Are you going to look at a rehab with, or are you going to look at a property with a different view to doing a different rehab if you're planning on buying a building versus a burn versus fixing it?
1,000,000%. Yeah.
First question I asked him, what's the accident?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, if we're doing an Airbnb, we're going to put some higher end finishes, do some accent walls, do some cool stuff in there, do a higher grade remodel. Especially in the Airbnb market, the way that it is now, like, you can't just stick anything on Airbnb and hope and pray that you're going to get rentals. You got to make it shine. If we're doing a midterm rental, we might do a little bit of a upgrade here or there. Obviously, we're going to furnish it with some nice stuff. And then a long-term rental, we're going to stick rental grade stuff in there. Like, it's going to get beat up, it's going to need to be replaced. You got to look at your exit, right? Figure out generally what kind of remodel you're doing, and then what kind of finishes you can put in there. And all.
And even like myself, like we had bought a foreclosure, and I thought that we would sell it when the kids graduated, which it would have changed like how I was going to finish it if I was going to sell it. I decided to keep it, so now Gage is rocking it out, and some people would probably thought I was crazy for how much I spent on windows and even my flooring was like reclaimed barn wood. But my husband was like, we have a wood house. But if I was selling it, I definitely would not do that. And Gage just finished these phenomenal steps. So excited, I can't walk on them right now because they have the oil on me. Took out the closet, opened up the stone. So we definitely, but if I was going to sell it, I had this vision already of what I would have done.
Yeah, the flip scenario too, we didn't really talk about that. Like, look at your market. What's going on in the market? What have other people been doing? What kind of other houses? I mean, Battle Lab, the one we're working on in Winchester. It's in a decent neighborhood. We kind of talked early on about maybe doing some nicer finishes, and then I'm looking at the comps and I'm going, there's really nothing that's selling that's like that. Fancy, like,
on the same street.
yeah, I think maybe we just coming back a little bit, keep it in line with what's going on in the neighborhood. Like, we got to take a look at that kind of stuff.
Literally just answer my question. Because I'm at the point where I'm at the finishes, and then now I'm at the appliances. So I am a nerd, like super efficient. But super efficient costs money, so if I'm going to hold it for 2 years, it's the $20 a year I'm saving per window worth it, or whatever I'm spending. At what point do you think that the market cares about, like when they walk in, like, damn, look at that dishwasher and the water heater, because that's a geothermal versus, all right, we have a water heater, congratulations, and like, they just move to the next room.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very much, neighborhood dependent. Like, it could be one thing on one side of the road and another thing, just down the street. Like, you gotta know the market to know where the house is.
Yeah, and I think it's like he's saying your exit, but your game plan, you've got to know like how long is it going to take you to get the money back. Even my regular retail clients, when they're putting in a pool, I'm like, it's great that you spent $150,000 on this pool with heated sidewalks and stuff, and I hope you enjoyed it because it's like the organizing lady. Like, you're just not getting that money back. Now appraisers had adjusted, but a couple of years ago, like you were getting $50,000 for a pool. And even garages, people build these big detached garages, and for a while they were like, oh, we'll give you $5,000 a day. But did it bring you joy? Because that's what you really got to look at. And I think even Shelley, I know she's over there busy, but she does a lot of amazing projects. So what is your long game, you know, when you're looking at budgets and putting money into it. I think it's your model though, right? You know, it's your brand.
Well, you know, sometimes it kicks you. Sometimes you get involved in a project like the trellis, and you absolutely have no clue what you're stepping into, and then you got to reevaluate. So the good deal is when you walk in and you're able to know your upfront costs. The bad game is when you get stop work orders 3 times because zoning doesn't know what to do with this property because it wasn't being used for 3 years. So one of the things that I would say to you guys is make sure, especially if it's, because it comes about that we get abandoned properties, and especially if it's a commercial use, you lose that zoning after 2 years. So it's very important that you visit zoning, that you visit, even if you think the interpretation of the code is what you think it is, that's not necessarily fact.
Right.
So, and I've run into it many, many times, and unfortunately, I think that can make or break a deal because those interest payments rack up while you're waiting 30, 60, 90 days for something to resolve. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to push them. You're only going to push so hard, and then you're going to get pushed back. So I always go in conservatively, but I always add 20%. Yeah. Because if I end up at the end of the game with money in my pocket, then that's good. But I've taken on some real headaches. And I tend to gravitate towards those. But then there's, I think the best property, and this is, and then I'll hand this back over, is when you get something like that. It's a house, and it has, like, it says 2 house. I bought 5th Street, for example. This is a property that I did about 5 years ago. I bought it, and I was able to get a variance, evaluate it, and look at it, and make sure that you're using the zoning and the code to your best interest.
And I think it's been happening a lot. Like one of my builders, he was so mad because I wouldn't let him buy something a couple weeks ago. A property on Blue Ridge Avenue, telling him to burn down, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I just had that." And I was like, "Dude, it is in the historic district, so it has to be, wood and brick, wood windows." And I'm like, I can do it in my head, but you're not going to make money. I mean, it's a great property for someone to love and cherish and build a house that they want to live in. Have Gage go in and rock it out. I fought with him, and then I even had to screenshot the zoning map and send it to him. And he was like, "Okay, well, another big builder got it," and then he slowed down again. He's like, "They got it, and they're going to build 5 townhouses there." I was like,
no, they're not. Just sit back and wait for them to realize the same thing you already know.
And I love them, and they know what they're doing, but I was like, they are not doing that.
So they micromanage that historic district. I mean,
yes.
Down to the color of the siding.
Yeah.
Yep. I've been a victim.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and so definitely, and so then he finally was like, "Okay, right," but I think builder, like today, he's like, "Blow me up because my spot, I got my TC right in the offer, he's crazy." But some days I can be like, "They're not buying that." He's like,
So I thought that property was going to last longer than it did too because of that historical, but it went kind of fast.
I know.
But I know exactly that.
And they're trying to do townhouses.
They're going to have to rebuild that to exactly what they're requiring.
And you know what? The only thing that saved them is because David King said that the foundation was not reusable. Or they even tried to reuse the foundation, but he said it got so hot that
So it completely rebuilt.
right. And they are trying to do. I know he was pushing to try to do townhouses, but it goes in waves. It does suck to drive down the street, and you're like, "Oh, these townhouses." Like, so at some point, some board let somebody do it, right? But the stuff changes, and right now they are strict on that stuff.
Well, the trellis, when I did that was 5 cabins in a house, and you would just think that you can go in and renovate the house, and renovate the main house. That's not the case. They told me that the cabins weren't usable. They hadn't been usable for almost 10 years, so therefore they lost their use. And I said, "Well, what do you do with those big barns in the field? What do you want me to do with them?" And they came back and said, "Well, you have to tear them down." And I said, "I'm not tearing them down. They're structures." So sometimes you got to push back a little bit too, because they existed. They were plotted. They existed. There is, I think, an arguing point to that. So.
And be able to turn it into real. I wrote a $6 million contract that I've been working on for months, and the seller was kind of kicking back to me because I put a study period. Well, the problem is that I didn't have trust fund money. my clients don't, but he did, so he bought this property for $5.7 million without a study period, and then he couldn't do what he wanted. And if he would have realized he was in Clark County, he would have been a little smarter about it. But that's where you have to be a little careful. But definitely, commercial is coming down, so I would like to get more of those commercial opportunities. Obviously, everybody has seen my corner that I listed. It is zone commercial. Is highest and best use residential? Yes. You can fight some of the planning and zoning and flip some of those commercial properties back into residential. I think that's a win-win for everyone. But you gotta know what you're doing. And that, those permits, zoning can be costly.
You don't have to know what you're doing because you have this collection.
Yeah.
That's what I'm taking away from this is like, you see how much power is in the room and how much experience and knowledge and resources, like, that's why we're here, because there's so much power in this conversation. Like, and I know we've been building a lot of relationships in Page County and Warren County with the, all the officials and all the boards and everything. So you guys are coming across opportunities, like, lean on the community, reach out to me, reach out to Amanda, reach out to Dave. Like, there's so much power in what we're trying to do here with these things. Like, know your, county regulations and board members. And, Amanda knows everybody, so if you guys need to know somebody, you got questions about code or whatever, like, it's all right
We've
here.
got vendors. I mean, it is good to not bug your builder every time.
Yeah.
But like, we've definitely gone to some stuff where I try to leave my, real estate agent hat on, not like that foundation piece of work. You can be like, oh no. Well, and like, I sent a video out, like I thought I had this really good house, and I think I was upstairs like doing a great video, and my husband is down in the crawl space, and he was like, honey, there's no plumbing. There was like a kitchen and a bathroom, like it was really
There's
good.
also air ducts and no HVAC units.
There's actually no septic or
Or well, yeah.
But at that first moment, I was like, this is so exciting. And then I was like, it wasn't, I got a little catfish for a moment. I figured that later. But we have those resources. So if you guys need a structural engineer, you need a good plumber, like I'm getting engaged all the time. Because I have some higher end clients and trust me, like chasing a plumber down this.
Yeah.
So you nailed it. Plumber is actually chill out.
Yeah.
Really.
Yep.
So, you got a couple, but we're here to help with all that stuff. If you need a second person. I personally, Stephen White with Greenway is my man. Like, we texted him on his phone. He is the most knowledgeable soil scientist in this tri-county area. I mean, he can tell me what the dirt is, with me just giving him an address, which is weird. But,
If you know, you know.
I know someone the other week, they're like, how do you know this? Patrick, we FOIA every property. I just sold a $1.9 million property, and I got freaking granted taken off because the septic didn't match what the building occupancy was. And the owner was like, well, I could never find the septic stuff. I'm like, well, my 21-year-old pretty sure this FOIA that helps requirements. But the stuff that you can find out by doing that is huge. So we're here.
It's free to do.
Yeah.
Vendors, make it happen.
Anybody else have thoughts, questions, insights into any of this?
Or ahas or just something that you
Something you learned, something you're excited about? Well, I have a deal.
oh, look, he's got
Oh, I can share. Please.
So these last two that we locked up, I didn't feel so comfortable paying the high interest rate for private money that we were borrowing, and we made quite a bit for the previous job, right? So we decided to fund for the renovation ourselves,
Okay.
right? We missed multiple opportunities, having more cash on.
Mm.
And then I started panicking when the last property sat.
Mm.
And then it just, from there, my head started spinning. Right? When do we drop the price? Why do we drop the price? What's the
And we
next
got the last.
The one thing I would tell you guys, right, is
contractors the whole time. We got it done top to bottom in 3 months. I mean, it was amazing. This one took longer because we did a lot of stuff ourselves, and I don't think it saved us money. We would have gotten it done a lot faster, just hiring the contractors than doing it ourselves. So that was a lesson, I think, on our part as well.
Time value of money for sure. It's, great points, for sure. There's never a shortage of money. There's a lot of people out there willing to lend money on good real estate deals. So keep your cash handy for when you need it for sure. You get a lot more opportunities with cash in your pocket.
And people are doing a lot of price drops. But the market, I mean, in Warren County, I just looked at the numbers, so I know it off the top of my head, where we're at a 2-month inventory, which is still a seller's market. You don't get beyond the seller's market till 3 or 5. But a lot of people like this month, out of my own clients, when it's fast, I'm like, I don't even know if it's August. And it's August is always, July and August especially are always slower. Like I went to Texas last week and I did not get through the airport. I was like, this is why no one's buying houses. Because they're all at the airport.
They're on vacation.
School starts back, right?
So in the past 30 days, we've only taken 23 homes under contract, and only 2 of them were over 500,000. But before that, we were at 76 closed in the last 3 days. Like I said, we were at a 2-month inventory. So the market is still really strong. We have lower rates. We're trending towards Fed's cutting rates. So I think it's still a great time to buy and sell the right piece of property. Definitely sometimes people buy homes. But it's a whole other series of great. John Marshall did something.
I saw that. I've been watching. I seen he take a sign down, so I looked it up.
Yeah.
So I'm asking?
Huh?
Did someone ask you price?
No.
No. Did someone ask you price?
450, I think.
Was it 450?
Yeah. What's it?
Oh.
Well, I've got a deal that I want to share. I've already emailed it out. I'm sure some of you have seen it already, but I wanted to just bring it to the group. Tiny little 1-bed, 1-bath cabin on Kyber Pass. Why am I blanking on the name? Jen?
Kyber Pass. What?
No, the
Skyland Estates.
Skyline Estates. It's a sub-2 deal. There's around 100K first mortgage at 2.99%. Payment on it is $637 a month. There's a 10K in arrears and an assignment fee plus closing costs. So it's $125 plus closing costs I'm asking for it. I've got some interest in it, but I want to share it with you guys. I don't have a contract yet. I've got a couple offers that may be coming in the next couple days. But the pre-foreclosure, the auction is the first week of September, so I need to move it. But if anybody's interested, anybody has buyers that are interested, let me know.
Is that an assumable mortgage, I guess?
It is a sub-2, so it's not an assumption.
Okay.
It could be a cash purchase if somebody just wants to come in and buy cash, but we've been doing a lot of these sub-2s, and so I'm wholesaling as a sub-2. So the loan will actually stay in the seller's name and at 2.99% with the payment and everything. It needs to be caught up. It is in pre-foreclosure, so there needs to be a payment to catch it up. But the loan actually stays in sub-2. It stays in the seller's name. Buyer takes deed and title. Loan stays and is serviced by the buyer. And I'm here to help too. I've been doing these. Been doing a ton of these. If somebody's interested, like I said, could come in and buy cash if you wanted to. But that's free money right there, 100K at 2.99% with a $600 a month.
You said the ARV is
$40
175, was it?
What's that?
The ARV?
Yeah, 175 is kind of my number on it. On the out. But honestly, like, I may still take this thing down myself. I'm just sharing it, see if there's somebody that may be interested. The house is in pretty good shape. Like, you could honestly,
Your picture looks kind of weird. Like it's like.
it's not a great picture. Not a great picture. I got better pictures I can share with you. It's in a walkthrough video of the house. It's really not in bad shape. The floors are in good shape. all the interior is in good shape. I mean, you could literally clean the place and rent for probably $1,000, $1,200 a month. In cash flow, you get $400 or $500, and that's probably what I would do with it. You could also clean it up, put a little bit of money into it, and Airbnb it. It's very Airbnb-able or short-term rentable. I don't think you got it. It's private. There's no houses around it. It has, these are mountains of the valley in the background, which you can't see. So like seasonal
Winter view.
winter views. The lot actually down here is vacant. So my first inclination is to call a guy and see if he'd be willing to sell the lot. It's a good size. The lot that it's sitting on, I think, is not quite an acre. It's like 0.7, 0.8. And on the other side, it was all vacant too. There's like 4 or 5 smaller vacant lots on the other side of it. So it's a good little opportunity. If anybody's interested, let me know, and I'll kick you the full rundown on it. But I wanted to share it with the group.
Is it, as far as doing it as a rental, is it pretty turnkey?
Yeah, I mean, it needs some work. The deck's got some, railings that need to be repaired. But I mean, honestly, the guy went in and like put new kitchen cabinets in it, put some backslash. It can use some work. I wouldn't call it turnkey per se, but you can get away with pretty minimal renovation on it.
Are we looking at the rental rate there on the prefab?
What's that?
I'm just indicating the rental rate, the $18 a square foot, is that what?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's 500 square feet. It's tiny.
Yeah.
It's like you walk into the kitchen, there's the living room, there's the bedroom, there's a small bathroom. There's not much to it. I would say it's a pretty minimal rehab. It's on a cistern, which the guy bought the house in 2020. Cistern was inspected, approved, financed. He's been keeping it, he's been maintaining it. The road getting up there is a little rough, overpass road. The driveway probably needs some grading, but it's passable. What else? Any other questions? General questions about the application?
Are you guys offering any buyer agent commissions?
Yeah, I mean, Amanda and I have done a ton of deals together. She brings me buyers. I'll pay her a commission or some kind of fee or something. So you bring me a buyer as an agent. We can work it out.
It's always
Anybody can be a buyer.
Yeah.
You don't have to be an agent to bring me a buyer and get compensated for that. I mean, that's a big part of the deal.
That's a big part of real estate. Obviously, real estate changed a little bit this week.
Yeah.
And my clients, I've been getting paid finder's fees for a while. So
Yeah.
it's nothing new, but your local media and even our local media
Yeah.
does not have very good articles.
Yeah.
But even these off-market deals, we are getting paid on those.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to show your value, especially when you're the one bringing them up.
Yep.
Can I just get your thoughts? If somebody brought you guys this deal, what would you be looking to do with this?
I mean, I gotta talk about it. Like, I might still take this thing down myself. You could go 2 ways with it. Like, I think it could be a decent long-term rental with minimal renovation. I think you could probably put 30, 40K into it and make it spruce it up a little bit, make it a little Airbnb getaway. I haven't really looked at the numbers on Airbnb, but presumably you can rent it for, 100 or 200 a night.
It's popping. Like my
Yeah.
lady had a little house up there right near that, and it was not much bigger. It
Yeah.
might have had an extra bedroom, and it sold for like $235 cash. I've got like a 600 square foot house at the end of Ward County, and I've got it under contract for $325. It's brand new, but
There's not much in one night for less than 300 unless you're looking at a townhouse.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity then, the cistern, I can understand how you'd manage that as an Airbnb, but as a landlord, aren't you responsible for the continuous and proper water? And so if someone turns on their hose spigot every day, like that would be my biggest nightmare, because that cistern is no more than 1,000 gallons. That's like 2 hours to pump on.
So, and a lot of those up there, not that you have to add a well.
Yeah, you can
We
put a
saw a
well.
lot of them, but I had one around the corner on Pico. I sold that for $210.
Yeah.
And it had a cistern, and then they had drilled a well.
Yeah, I think he had told me that he got a quote or two for a well when he moved in, 10, 15K.
Yeah.
I think 15K on private patch is pretty good.
Yeah. So it depends on how far you want to take it. But yeah, you brought up a good
I
point.
was just interested in that thing. That's a weird loophole.
Even the Airbnbs, it might ping you a little bit. To
Yeah.
go with an Airbnb with a cistern.
Yeah.
I was actually wondering that. If
I had someone who had, they had a pump and all, and they got rejected. Why didn't do this, but I don't know.
There's 3 other Airbnbs on Khyber Pass.
Oh,
So
yeah.
even though the road is steep and it's kind of crazy to get there, there are people who rent properties on that road.
Sure.
I don't know how it goes in the wintertime when it snows, because
Yeah.
they might not be as prepared for that, but it's not impossible to do an Airbnb there. I don't know about the cistern part.
Yeah.
I have a deal that I want to talk about. I try to sell it to everybody, and nobody will buy it.
Way to sell it.
Way to intro.
It's in Page County. It's in Stanley, actually. It's right next to that chicken, or it's not chicken, it's some factory. And it actually is public water. But so what I did is I couldn't sell it, and the substitute deal didn't work. I tried to get everybody to buy it. But we have a thing for these online cash offers. So if you guys have a tough property that is ugly, it's like your stepkid, and no one will take it. Like this, yesterday I put it in, and I think I got 6 cash offers today, because they're all from all over the country. So it's not just our grid. It's even beyond our grid. My lady's getting anxious. She's going to stab me soon. And it's been a while since I couldn't sell something, but it's.
That
Dude,
one's a tough one.
that's a hard sell.
That's a tough one.
It's odd. I haven't seen nothing
Is that the Ross?
bad about
Is
it.
that Ross?
Yeah.
It's just odd.
I talked to him about doing a sub 2 one, but I think it was like 13 one.
Yeah.
I think on mortgage existing.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
if that's the same one,
Yeah. She pays $1,100 a month.
I'll say 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I asked him what could be the rent,
And I could get.
and then what
renters
is their mortgage and
there.
all
I
that.
have people that would rent there. I just can't.
Yeah,
I was like, either I'm going to have to buy it, or let me see if I can find a cash buyer. So I just want to throw that out there. That
Yeah.
grid is pretty big. And there are people who have cash that they'll just buy stuff to buy stuff. Sometimes, so I threw it out there, and I've gotten a couple good cash offers that we can work.
And where did you share that for the tax office?
I have a special site, like for us, it's called Kid Offers, but, so if you like have a listing, you're like, I need a cash buyer, I can like plug your address in there and put your information in, and then it will send it to you. I have like my own portal and stuff, but it's.
Call me first before you do that.
Well, yeah. It's like, ask for Berkshire.
Yeah.
I already called Mike.
That's plain Z.
You call me and I tell you it's no good. Then you call me.
Yeah. I feel like that one, if you could flip the house next door, that would make a big difference too. Can I buy both of them and flip both at the same time?
If anyone really wants a house in Wright or Stanley, I'm your girl. I got it. Okay. Next steps. We have a whole table of food back there that I bought for you guys to share, so you can sample. It's actually the very first day that Shelley's had food, so we are the guinea pigs. Yes.
cool.
Join the Facebook group if you haven't. We have a Facebook group, but we're trying to grow the big global group. So join that. I think that's all we really have.
Yeah, and we're trying to do the Facebook events. We need to do this.
Yeah.
I was in Texas. Mike was on vacation, so we're slacking.
Well, thank you all for being here. We'll hang out. I encourage you guys to mingle and meet some new people.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.